Well, hello, everybody. Here it's Teresa Sanderson. Oh my goodness, excited to connect with you again on the Dare to Do Nursing Differently podcast. And today we're continuing our interview series of all of our nurses Feed Their Young experts who are serving in the nifty online peer support community as we break that thing out this year. So I'm super excited to have a special guest with me, my dear friend Emily Knife, host of the Modern Nurse Fest, and founder of the School of Modern Nursing. Emily, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks, Teresa.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Now, you and I know each other pretty well, but I know that there are members of our audience maybe who've not met you yet. So, Emily, why don't you just give us a little bit of the story of how you got into nursing and the kind of work you did in the more traditional settings, and in a little bit we'll talk about what you're up to now.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So let's see. So there's just so much, but I'm going to give you the short story. So the short story is I've always been really interested in medical, even since I was young. I dressed up for a nurse for Halloween when I was like 5.
Uh-huh.
And from there, I actually wanted to be a coroner. So I actually didn't even want to deal with live people. I wanted to just deal with dead people because they don't talk back. So I wanted to go,
I
I
love
wanted to
that.
be a coroner and go into mortuary science and things like that. But the universe had a different plan. God had a different plan. So I ended up going into the Air Force, and I kind of went into the Air Force because I was lost in college. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And my awesome dad was Air Force retired 20 years. And so I knew that life, and I was like, I kind of want that life. So I enrolled in the Air Force, and I was a medic in the Air Force. So did all sorts of cool things, learned about all sorts of public health knowledge, disease prevention, interventions, and got really trained by some of the best doctors and nurses in the world. So did 4 years in that, and then came out and went into my nursing journey. So I started at the low end of the totem pole. I was a medical assistant, and then I became an LPN, and then I became an ADN. And
Wow.
then from my ADN, I went and got my MSN in nursing education. So kind of stopping there for a minute. Have a bunch of different certifications in somatics, yoga therapy, massage therapy, and holistic medicines. Um, and so, yeah, and here I am today. And that was really short considering that was like 20 years worth of a journey of nursing, which we all have as nurses. I feel like all of us have this like long journey, and it's continuing, which is so cool. So, yeah, so that's kind of how I got to this point. Traditionally, the nursing roles that I worked in,
Yeah,
yeah, so hospice, we share that similarity.
we do.
Did hospice, loved hospice. I love the spiritual side of nursing and the woohoo things that we don't really talk about that are like secretive, but a lot of
Yes.
hospice nurses, we can vibe and say that there's something bigger and beyond us. And so I did
Yes.
hospice for a little bit, home health, case management, integrative pediatrics, so more of holistic concept, where vaccinations were optional, and they did a lot of subscribing of like herbalism and more natural remedies at that doctor's office with a focus of autism. So I really appreciated the doctor and how she integrated other modalities rather than just medicating our
Mhm.
kiddos with autism. So that was really cool to see. So from there, been an educator that whole time, working PRN either at like community
Wow.
colleges or universities. I've done online teaching for allied health. And so kind of always dabbling in having like a second job or a PRN just on the side, to kind of fill that fill that itch a little bit. So yeah, so up to this point, left traditional nursing, I guess you could say. I left academia. I wasn't really jiving with it and started my own school, the School of Modern Nursing. So yeah,
Wow.
so here we are.
What a journey. What a journey. And I just, I feel like all I could envision in my mind, we're getting ready for Thanksgiving, but I was just envisioning a cornucopia, just full of all of the things. And anymore, I really see that's what nursing is. It's like all of these options and opportunities that when I became a nurse more than 30 years ago, this wasn't a thing. You know, the availability of opportunities that exist outside traditional nursing really wasn't a thing, 30 years ago. But in, the last 15, 20 years, it's just really kind of blown up. And the last 10 years, especially, everything's just kind of gone crazy. But I love that. So you were working in traditional academia and teaching, and yet you felt compelled to start the School of Modern Nursing. Tell us a little bit about that story.
Sure, yeah. A rebel without a cause here. So no, lots of causes. Maybe I could be considered a whistleblower. So, I think unfortunately in our current climate of nursing education, we are still kind of stuck in this like 1940s, 1950s setting where we're preparing nurses to take a test. And while that's very valuable and very needed, and we need to learn all the information so we can spit it out on the NCLEX, it's still really not preparing our nurses for real world situations such as hospice. I don't know about you, Teresa, but I was not trained on how to handle death. I learned that in the Air Force. But I kind of got dropped. I applied, I went, and they're like, "You're hired." And I was like, "Oh, crap." Okay.
Of course you're hired. Who else are we going to hire? Right?
Yeah, it's like there's openings. Yeah. And so throughout kind of like my nursing journey, I've picked up these things that were just very valuable tools, such as learning about informed trauma and how to handle every patient with a trauma mindset, because every person is a mental health patient first, and then all the other stuff kind of falls into place. But really, it comes back to what's the stress on the body, and that comes back to the trauma or the informed part. Dealing with death, how does that, how do we go from patient to patient? I mean, I would have sometimes 3 to 4 deaths a day on a bad day, and have to go home and feed my 3 and 4-year-old kiddo and act like everything's okay. So there was lots of these things that I was trying to deal with as a human. And I didn't really see it being put out into the nursing world at the time. And so that's where the School of Modern Nursing evolved, because I was teaching this to the nursing students, and kind of being told, like, you're not a doctorate, you don't have your doctorate in this, you can't be telling them this isn't in the curriculum. And I was just like, and that happened over 5 years, and hearing that over and over. And I was just like, I just threw my hands up one day and I was like, what do you have in store for me, universe, God? And I sat in a meditation, and it was basically somatic nursing came to me, and I was like, that sounds wicked cool. I'm going to do this. And so, I wrote curriculum over about 2-year period, Somatic Nurse Coach Certification, and it really helps nurses learn about informed trauma. It learns about energetics, frequency, some of these really cool modern concepts that we're not really allowed to talk about in traditional academia. So I was just like, let's go. And I've never been happier.
I love that. And
just a little bit.
yeah. Well, congratulations on that. I mean, what a journey. And I know you recently had, and I was just so blessed to be a part of your Modern Nurse Fest this year. And one of the things I love most, for any of you who have not seen Emily's content yet, just the image of Florence Nightingale with some really cool glasses on. Just love how you've colored her shades and brought her up to speed in the world. But I think you're so right. There's a lot of focus that I have personally on emotionally intelligent communication and preparing our new nurses for the reality of the schedule, what's it going to be like when you graduate, right? And you get that first job, and the trade-offs that you'll make between, am I going to be with my family or am I going to be working, the holidays? And while those may sound like trivial things, those are really hard choices. Those are really hard choices. And because nurses aren't robots, we're human beings with feelings and families and ties, yet the nursing schedule was created, it's this 24/7 thing that's really built for a robot. because you can't tell me there are moms and dads out there that don't wish they were at home and able to kiss their children goodnight and they're working the evening shift, right? It's just, it's hard. And so I think it's time that we have hard conversations. I think it's time that we talk about what are students not getting that they need today to be successful. Yeah, so I love what you're doing, love what you're up to. I love that. So, and on that note, let's talk a little bit about, you have stepped up as an expert to serve in the Nifty community, our online peer support community, and I'm super excited to have you there. But it's a serving as an expert is nothing to take lightly, because we're asking for commitment from people like you to step up and be able to, educate our community and support the community. So it's a dedication of additional time and talent. What drew you to Nurses Feed Their Young and prompted you to say, yeah, I'm in, I'll be a part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so first of all, Teresa's like a mentor to me. So I absolutely adore and love her. So anything Teresa needs, I'm like, I'm in. And secondly, I think that the Nifty community really scans the whole route of nursing, the whole journey of nursing, from nursing students to even CNAs and STNAs, right? Like, we can't forget about those awesome people that are like I started that down at the end of the totem pole. But those
Yeah.
people, if we didn't have those people, like, nursing wouldn't work. Like,
Yeah.
we need those people. And so, if you take a piece out of a Jenga tower at the low end, usually your tower is probably going to wobble and fall. And those are like the people that we need, all the way up to the wisdom filled retirees. And you include that in your community and everybody in between. And I just adore that. And I think,
Mm.
encompassing such a huge part of nursing in one place and having it broken down into different categories and different areas, where we have awesome experts, and a few of them were at Modern Nurse Fest.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, so it's really cool just to be, I think community is essential to being a human, right? It's like part of Maslow's hierarchy. And if we don't have community, then, life can be very lonely. And I think as a nurse entrepreneur, as a mom, a stay-at-home mom for a long time, I felt very isolated. And,
Yeah.
I think that can send you into deep sadness, because it's like you have nobody to connect with. And so I think that this community is just going to blow up, because there's so many people, nurses, that need that shoulder, that ear, that person that's been through it, and so thank you for doing that. So yeah, I'm super stoked to be able to help out however I can.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, I'm so excited, to have you in there. And what I'm finding is, 20 experts already, and I'm getting email regularly from people saying, how can I, how can I serve in the Nifty community? And I just think it's amazing, because obviously a lot of us have this same passion and drive to create a better future for nursing. And that's really what it's all about. The trajectory that we're on right now is not good for anybody. And we've been on this trajectory for decades. We've been heading down. I mean, I was a new grad nurse already being incentivized 30 plus years ago with double time pay to come into my off days. So this is not a new problem. Where we're at in nursing is not a new problem. It's just high time we do something about it, and that we accept that the current system is broken, it's failing, it has never worked, and it's time for us to rethink everything we've ever done.
Absolutely.
So, rebel to rebel, here we are.
I love it. We're going to celebrate that. Yes, for
But
sure.
yeah, I love that. So I love what you're doing in the school and all of those wonderful things. Before we wind up today, Emily, tell us, how can we connect with you outside of the Nifty community? Because I see you out there on social media. Let people know how they can reach you.
Yeah, sure. So if you're a professional nurse and want to jive on LinkedIn, I'm Emily K on there. Um, fresh account. So excited to have you join my awesome community. You get lots of good nuggets on LinkedIn, professional, of course. If you want the not so professional and the more of the whistleblower, you can find me on all the social medias, School of Modern Nursing, from TikTok to Instagram. I just joined Twitter because that's a fun place to be. And you can find me School of Modern Nursing. You can send me an email, schoolofmodernnursing@gmail.com. So yeah.
Love that. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much, Emily, for joining me today, for stepping up as an expert for the Nifty community. I think we've got an exciting year ahead, and I know I'm just looking forward to collaborating with you as we serve other nurses. So thank you for joining me today.
Of course, you're welcome. Thanks, Teresa, for having me.
All right. And to all of our listeners and viewers out there, thank you for tuning in. This is the end of our episode today of Dare to Do Nursing Differently, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.